One of the common questions that our office gets is, how do I prevent the nursing home or the state of Iowa or the state of Nebraska from taking all of my assets after my passing? Everybody has heard a horror story or two about someone's elderly mother or grandmother who ends up in the nursing home, and it depletes all of her assets and prevents her beneficiaries from obtaining any assets after her passing, despite the fact that perhaps the family once had considerable monies. There are some important lessons or bits of knowledge that people need to know. First, Medicaid is the program in both Iowa and Nebraska that funds a nursing home stay if you're not able to pay for that privately or through a long-term care insurance benefit. Approximately 60% of persons in Iowa who are in a nursing home are funded through Iowa Medicaid. Further, 40% of people over the course of their life sometime in Iowa are going to end up in an out-of-home residential care facility prior to their passing. So it affects nearly a majority of Iowans, and more than a majority of Iowans who end up in a nursing home end up using Medicaid. Medicaid is the program of last resort. It's supposed to be the final payer. So when an individual goes into a long-term residential care facility, they first use whatever private assets they have and any long-term care insurance benefits that they may have. After both of those are exhausted, the facility will oftentimes help them apply to obtain Iowa Medicaid. Once Iowa Medicaid begins paying for a person's out-of-home stay, they begin running a tab. At the conclusion of that person's life, absent some specific circumstances, Medicaid is going to become a creditor of their estate. So while they can keep select assets during their life, including, importantly, their home, after the conclusion of their life, Medicaid, through the Iowa Medicaid Estate Recovery Program, is going to be seeking repayment. With enough advanced planning or effort, there are some methods and modes of circumventing their interest. The timing of those estate planning strategies is critical because Medicaid will look back for 60 months of activity before someone makes an application. Meaning, they'll look back at the last 5 years of your financial and legal history to see what assets you may have transferred. If you've transferred assets in that 5-year period to another member of your family or to someone else, to a third party, you may be prevented or prohibited from eligibility for Medicaid, or there may be other penalties that result. So it's important to be very careful in this arena. It is possible to reduce exposure to future Medicaid estate recovery liens, but you have to be very cautious that you don't end up endangering a benefit that you really, you or your loved one sincerely needs to survive while staying in a nursing home or assisted living facility. We have had clients that will engage in a program of gifting who are perhaps younger in their lives, or some irrevocable trust planning earlier in their lives, so as to sidestep a future Medicaid problem or issue.